Hello everyone, I'm Woodsman Drew here at Lost Creek. Join me as I explore the fascinating details of nature around us. Let's go see the forest through the trees. One of my favorite things to do is take a walk in the forest. And when I go for a walk, I like to take my time and observe everything around me. One of the biggest mistakes I see when watching other folks go for a walk is they often stare straight down at the path in front of them. And they rarely look up or to the sides. The key is to slow down. Be curious. Take everything in, even the smallest of details. You'd be surprised at some of the fascinating things that you can discover. And here's an example of such a discovery. This twisted snag is what's left of a black cherry tree that died long ago. Cherry trees are very rot resistant and take many years to decompose, especially if standing like this one. This snag looked very much like this 30 years ago when I first discovered it, so it's difficult to tell exactly how old it is. But I estimate that this tree's been dead for 60 to 100 years. Now that's not the amazing thing here. What caught my eye was the way it grew in such a twisted manner. So I asked myself, what on earth could possibly cause a tree to grow like this? My first thought was that it's caused by the rotation of the earth, the Coriolis effect. The same force that causes hurricanes and other vortexes in the northern hemisphere to rotate counterclockwise must be happening here. You can see the twist as it rotates counterclockwise as viewed from above, just like hurricanes. I started noticing other trees that were twisted, such as this old maple snag. With the bark gone, you can see the twists run in the same direction, to the right, or counterclockwise from above. The twist is not as obvious in a live tree when the bark is still on, but the multiple trunks on this giant white pine clearly spiral to the right. And here is a maple that shows the same spiral to the right characteristic. Sometimes a lightning strike can reveal the twist on a live tree as it follows the grain down the trunk. This wound also gently curves to the right. Just when I thought I was onto something, I came across this old cherry snag that challenged my hypothesis. The twist in this tree wraps to the left, or clockwise as seen from above. Then, when I saw the lightning strike on this oak curve to the left, I knew I had to rethink my hypothesis. I decided to do some research into the matter. The first thing I read is that 90% of trees grow with a right-handed spiral, and only 10% with a left-handed spiral. So now my curiosity made me dig further into the subject. By the way, this also happens to be the ratio of right-handed to left-handed people. Maybe it's just a coincidence? Who knows? It turns out that this phenomenon has been a matter of discussion within the scientific community for many years. Way back in 1914, the British author Sir Theodore Cook published a book called Curves of Life, wherein he speculates that the twisted nature of tree grain must be caused by the Earth's rotation, and should exhibit a right-handed helix in the northern hemisphere and a left-handed helix in the southern hemisphere. Now that sounds familiar. He later contradicts himself in the book by pointing out an observation of two identical trees in the same location in England that grew with opposite helices. Other scientists tested the theory by transplanting trees from the northern hemisphere that exhibited the right-handed growth spirals to the southern hemisphere, and then observed their growth over a period of years. It trees continued the same growth helix as when they were in the northern hemisphere. So, that pretty much rules out the Coriolis effect hypothesis. In a more recent study, in 1998, Norwegian scientists Skatter and Kuchera hypothesized that helical grain is the result of asymmetric crown growth combined with prevailing winds. They studied the canopies of trees in the northern hemisphere and noted that they tend to grow faster on the south side as they reach for the sunlight. Here we can see this effect in action with this birch tree as its branches grow and lean in a southern direction. That lopsided feature, combined with the prevailing winds coming from the west in the northern hemisphere, creates a counterclockwise rotational force on the tree due to the sail effect. Now you might be asking the question, if that rotational force actually causes the tree to grow with a counterclockwise grain spiral, then why do we see some trees grow with the clockwise spiral?
The answer is genetic evolution. In the beginning, some trees grew with a right-handed spiral, some trees grew with a left-handed spiral, and some trees grew with no spiral at all. In the northern hemisphere, trees that grow with a right-handed spiral experience torsional forces that tended to wrap them in the direction of their twist. Trees with a left-handed spiral experienced torsional forces that tended to unwrap them, weakening their trunk. So trees in the northern hemisphere with a right-handed spiral tended to survive, and with a left-handed spiral or no spiral at all tended to snap off. So over the millennia, the gene pool evolved to the point where 9 out of 10 trees have the right-handed spiral as we see today. So the next time you're out in the woods, you'll have one more fascinating aspect of nature to observe as you see the forest through the trees.